politics muddy the water debate. Throughout the valley, the intensity of feelings are only rivaled by the summer's 100-plus degree temperatures. Walt Shubin has lived in the valley most of his life. He's a retired farmer, still growing grapes. He says big agriculture is telling big lies.
I can't use the language that I would like to use, but I think they've stepped into a pile of it, and it's going to turn around and bite them on the backside, because they've been spreading misinformation and lying through their teeth about all this land being idled and stuff. They said, you know, the sky's going to fall. You know, we're going to ruin agriculture. Well, Fresno County is still #1, and if they, and in dollars, if they dried up half of this valley, the prices would double, and they'd still have the same amount of money as far as income.
But what everybody forgets in all of this is water is cash. And the water in the public treasury, which is the stored river water of California, belongs to the people of California. Because of a law that was passed in 1992, agribusinessmen are free to take their federal irrigation water and resell that water on the open market in California to developers, for example. So you can buy water from the federal government for $70 an acre foot, and you can sell it for $350, $400 an acre foot to anyone who's willing to pay that price. Water has become the new cash crop.
I've known people that have been fishermen that have lost their homes, their boats, their livelihoods. I'm not a genius or anything, I'm just a farmer, but common sense tells me the reason we have such a decline in the salmon, they've dried up all the rivers. And salmon have to have fresh water to spawn. And if they have, just like this river here has been dry for 60 years. Can you imagine the amount of salmon that have been lost in 60 years?
You've got a small, tiny segment of agribusiness in California right now, which is pushing the slogan, fish versus people. That's their slogan. And not a beautiful, magnificent, healthy, high-protein salmon, but they make the fish the Delta smelt, which they say is a little worthless fish that who cares whether it exists or not. That's how they want to frame the argument. But in fact, in the Delta, what do we have? We have 500,000 acres of some of the most beautiful farmland in the world. Very rich soils. Now, what if the question is Western Fresno County growers on problem soils versus Delta farmers farming some of the richest land in the world? Well, then the terms of the debate look a little different rather than fish versus people. Don't get me wrong, we need farming, we obviously need food. I love almonds, but we need to make our water resources, which is the true source of wealth in California, available to a variety of different interest groups, including nature itself. You need to have fish in your river, not just for commercial value, but because we're more complete human beings when we see a salmon run go up a river. It makes us better human beings.
Imagine for a moment what it must be like to be a wild California king salmon, born in a cold, clear river high in the mountains. When the time is right, you begin a long swim down the river, through the Sacramento Delta, a complex and fragile ecosystem in the middle of the state, where the fresh water turns salty. You instinctively swim through the delta, finding yourself in the middle of one of the world's most magnificent natural estuaries, San Francisco Bay. You swim under the Golden Gate Bridge and out to live most of your life in the wild waters of the Pacific Ocean. One day, an internal switch goes off. It's time to mate. You somehow know exactly how to find your way back to the mouth of the San Francisco Bay. Back through the delta, where the salt water begins to turn fresh, and you swim upstream to reach the riverbed of your beginnings, where you spawn and then die. Now, the only way to get there is to go up rivers that are manipulated and dammed by humans. Changes made in the name of big agriculture and land use policies that encourage millions of people to live in or next to deserts. There are consequences for those choices: reduced water flows that cause higher than ideal temperatures, water pumping stations and dams that make the journey much more challenging than nature intended.